General Crixon stood tall and proud on the balcony of the alien command center, surveying his troops with a critical eye. As the seasoned commander of the Galactic Empire's most elite forces, he had led his people to victory in countless battles across the stars. Now, with his alien legions assembled before him, Crixon's confidence knew no bounds. "Soldiers of the Empire," Crixon boomed, his deep voice echoing through the cavernous hall. "Today, we face yet another incursion by the primitive humans. These weak, inferior creatures believe they can challenge our might, but they shall soon learn the folly of their ways." The troops erupted in a chorus of cheers and battle cries, their loyalty to the alien general unwavering. Crixon allowed himself a small, self-satisfied smile, secure in the knowledge that his forces were more than a match for any human trespassers. Just then, one of Crixon's lieutenants approached, a look of concern etched on his face. "General, we have received reports of a human infiltrator within the base. Our scanners have detected a single intruder moving through the lower levels." Crixon scoffed, waving a dismissive hand. "A single human? Insignificant. Dispatch a squad of our finest soldiers to apprehend this intruder immediately. I want them brought before me, so that I may demonstrate the true power of the Galactic Empire." The lieutenant hesitated for a moment, but dared not question the general's orders. "It will be done, sir." He hurried off to carry out Crixon's command. Crixon turned his attention back to the assembled troops, his mandibles curling into a smug grin. "You see, my soldiers, the humans are no match for our superior technology and military might. This pitiful attempt at infiltration will only serve to remind them of their place in the universe." The troops erupted in cheers once more, their unwavering loyalty to their general a testament to the power of the Galactic Empire. Crixon basked in their adulation, his chest swelling with pride. In his mind, there was no doubt that the humans would be crushed under the heel of the alien forces. Far below, in the dimly lit corridors of the base, a lone human figure moved with the graceful precision of a seasoned warrior. Lieutenant Ava Salazar, one of the elite operatives of the human resistance, had slipped past the alien security measures with ease, her training and instincts honed to perfection. Ava knew that the stakes were high. The information she had risked her life to obtain could be the key to turning the tide of the war against the oppressive Galactic Empire. As she navigated the alien base, her mind remained focused, her senses alert for any sign of discovery. Suddenly, Ava heard the thunderous footsteps of approaching troops. Quickly, she ducked into a nearby alcove, her pulse quickening as the alien soldiers marched past, their weapons at the ready. Ava held her breath, praying that her concealment would remain undiscovered. Once the squad had passed, Ava resumed her cautious advance, her mind racing. She knew that the alien general would be furious to learn of her presence, and that she had a limited window of time to complete her mission before the entire base was on high alert. As Ava reached a critical juncture in the base's schematics, she paused, her brow furrowed in concentration. She could sense the presence of the alien general, his arrogance and confidence radiating through the very walls of the command center. Ava knew that confronting him directly would be a risky proposition, but she also understood the importance of her mission. Taking a deep breath, Ava steeled her resolve and continued her advance, her steps quickening as she drew closer to her objective. The fate of the resistance, and perhaps even the future of humanity, rested on her shoulders. Little did the alien general know that his dismissal of the weak human intruder would soon be proven tragically mistaken. The truth about the true capabilities of the human soldier was about to be revealed, and it would shake the very foundations of Crixon's belief in the superiority of the Galactic Empire. General Crixon's brow furrowed in annoyance as he listened to the report from his lieutenant. A single human intruder had infiltrated the heart of the Galactic Empire's base, and his elite soldiers had yet to apprehend the trespasser. "Unacceptable," Crixon growled, his mandibles clicking in frustration. "Dispatch a squad of our best warriors to hunt down this human immediately. I want them to bring the intruder to me, alive and unharmed. It is time I demonstrate the true power of the Empire to this pathetic creature." The lieutenant bowed respectfully. "It will be done, General." He hurried off to carry out the orders, knowing better than to question the alien general's commands. Crixon watched as the squad of heavily armed soldiers marched out, their advanced battle gear and sophisticated weaponry a testament to the Galactic Empire's technological superiority. The alien general allowed himself a small smile, confident that his troops would swiftly capture the weak human and bring an end to this foolish intrusion. Meanwhile, deep within the winding corridors of the base, Ava Salazar moved with a cat-like grace, her senses alert for any sign of the approaching alien soldiers. She knew that time was running out, and that the Galactic Empire's forces would soon be scouring every nook and cranny in search of her. As Ava reached a junction, she paused, her brow furrowed in concentration. She could hear the distant rumble of footsteps and the chatter of alien voices echoing through the halls. Quickly, she ducked into a nearby alcove, pressing her back against the wall as the squad of heavily armored soldiers marched past, their weapons at the ready. Ava held her breath, her heart pounding in her chest. She could feel the heat radiating from the soldiers' exoskeleton armor as they passed, their alien features a blur in her peripheral vision. Once the squad had moved on, Ava cautiously peeked out, her eyes scanning the corridor for any sign of movement. Satisfied that the area was clear, Ava continued her stealthy advance, her footsteps barely making a sound as she navigated the alien base's labyrinthine corridors. She knew that the information she had risked her life to obtain could be the key to turning the tide of the war against the oppressive Galactic Empire, and she was determined to see her mission through, no matter the cost. Suddenly, Ava heard a faint hiss from behind her. Whirling around, she caught a glimpse of a heavily armed alien soldier, its weapon raised and ready to fire. Ava's reflexes kicked in, and she dove to the side, narrowly avoiding the searing energy bolt that sizzled past her. Landing in a crouch, Ava drew her own compact plasma pistol, her finger poised on the trigger. The alien soldier advanced, its glowing eyes fixed on the human intruder. Ava knew she couldn't afford to be caught in a protracted firefight, not with the entire base likely alerted to her presence. Quickly, Ava fired a series of precision shots, each one hitting the alien's armor with a shower of sparks. The soldier staggered, its momentum disrupted, and Ava seized the opportunity to dart down a side corridor, her legs pumping as she made her escape. Behind her, the enraged alien soldier let out a guttural roar and gave chase, its heavy footsteps echoing through the narrow passageway. Ava knew she couldn't outrun the alien for long, but she was determined to buy herself more time to reach her objective. As she rounded a corner, Ava caught a glimpse of a ventilation duct, its grate slightly ajar. Without hesitation, she leaped up, grabbing the edge of the duct and hauling herself inside, just as the alien soldier came barreling around the corner. Crouched in the cramped duct, Ava listened as the alien's frustrated growls faded into the distance. She allowed herself a brief moment of respite, her chest heaving with exertion. But she knew that the hunt was far from over, and that the Galactic Empire's forces would not rest until they had captured the human intruder. With renewed determination, Ava pushed forward, her mind racing as she plotted her next move. The alien general might have underestimated the capabilities of the weak human, but Ava was determined to prove him wrong, no matter the cost. General Crixon's mandibles clicked in frustration as he listened to the reports from his soldiers. The human intruder had managed to evade capture, slipping through the base's winding corridors with an infuriating ease. "Incompetent fools," the alien general bellowed, his booming voice echoing through the command center. "How can a single weak human outmaneuver my elite troops?" The soldiers cringed, their eyes downcast, as they bore the brunt of Crixon's wrath. They knew better than to offer any excuses in the face of the general's unbridled fury. Crixon paced back and forth, his clawed hands clenched into fists. "No more," he growled. "I will deal with this trespasser myself." Turning to his lieutenant, Crixon issued his orders. "Seal off the lower levels and mobilize all available forces. I want that human found and brought to me, immediately." The lieutenant nodded, his expression grave. "It will be done, General." He hurried away to carry out the command. Crixon strode towards the exit, his imposing figure exuding an aura of menace. As he made his way through the base, the other soldiers parted before him, their respect for the alien general's prowess evident in their demeanor. Deep within the labyrinthine corridors, Ava Salazar crouched in the shadows, her breath coming in short, quiet gasps. She had managed to evade the pursuing soldiers, but she knew that her respite would be short-lived. The Galactic Empire would not rest until they had captured the human intruder. Ava's mind raced, trying to plot her next move. She was close to her objective, but the risk of confronting the alien general directly was not one she could afford to take lightly. She knew that Crixon would be a formidable opponent, his years of combat experience and the sheer power of his alien physiology making him a daunting foe. As Ava prepared to continue her advance, a sudden, heavy footfall echoed through the corridor. Whirling around, she came face to face with the imposing figure of General Crixon, his glowing eyes fixed on the human intruder. "So, the brave human has finally shown herself," Crixon sneered, his mandibles clicking in what Ava recognized as a gesture of disdain. "I must say, I'm impressed that you've managed to evade my troops for this long. But your little game of cat and mouse ends here." Ava tensed, her hand gripping the hilt of her plasma pistol. She knew that she would need to be quick and precise if she had any hope of taking on the alien general. Crixon's lips curled into a predatory grin. "You know, I was rather looking forward to this. I must confess, I've grown tired of these mighty human soldiers and their pathetic attempts at resistance. But you, my dear, you intrigue me. Perhaps you'll prove to be a more worthy opponent." Ava remained silent. Her eyes narrowed as she studied the alien general, searching for any weaknesses or openings she could exploit. Crixon chuckled, a deep, rumbling sound that sent a shiver down Ava's spine. "Oh, don't worry, I won't kill you. Not yet. At least, I want to savor this moment, to see the look of defeat in your eyes when you realize the futility of your resistance." With a lightning-fast movement, Crixon lunged forward, his massive clawed hand reaching out to grab Ava. But the human soldier was ready, her reflexes honed by years of intense training. She dodged the alien general's grasp, her plasma pistol coming up in a well-aimed shot. The energy bolt struck Crixon's shoulder, eliciting a roar of pain and surprise from the alien general. Caught off guard, Crixon stumbled back, his eyes widening in disbelief. Ava wasted no time, pressing her advantage. She unleashed a barrage of shots, each one finding its mark on Crixon's armored form. The alien general staggered, his movements growing sluggish as the plasma bolts seared his flesh. Crixon's initial arrogance had been shattered, replaced by a growing sense of bewilderment and alarm. He had never imagined that a mere human could pose such a threat, let alone inflict actual harm upon him. As Ava closed in, her pistol leveled at the alien general's head, Crixon realized that his assumptions about human weakness had been tragically mistaken. The truth about the capabilities of this insignificant human soldier was about to be revealed, and it would shake the very foundations of the Galactic Empire's beliefs. General Crixon stared in disbelief at the human soldier standing before him, her plasma pistol still trained on his battered form. The alien general's mandibles clicked in a gesture of confusion, his mind racing to comprehend how this insignificant human had managed to gain the upper hand. Ava Salazar, her eyes narrowed with determination, spoke in a calm, unwavering voice. "I am Lieutenant Ava Salazar of the Human Resistance, and I am here to put an end to your tyranny, General Crixon." Crixon's eyes widened at the mention of Ava's rank and affiliation. "Impossible," he growled, his voice laced with disbelief. "A mere human, a lieutenant in your resistance. That cannot be." Ava nodded, her expression grim. "It is true. I am no ordinary soldier, General. I have been trained in the most advanced combat techniques, and I have dedicated my life to opposing the Galactic Empire's oppression of my people." Crixon's clawed hands clenched into fists, his pride and arrogance warring with the overwhelming evidence before him. "No, this cannot be. You are weak, inferior creatures. How could a human possibly possess such skill and power? Ava's lips curved into a humorless smile. That is where you have been mistaken, General. Humanity is far more than what you and your kind have assumed. We may not possess the same physical attributes as the aliens of the Galactic Empire, but we make up for it with our ingenuity, our determination, and our unwavering spirit. The alien general's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of his growing agitation. Lies. You are nothing but a freak, an anomaly among your kind. The rest of your species are still weak, easily crushed under the might of the Empire. Ava shook her head, her expression softening ever so slightly. That is where you are wrong, General. Humanity is united in our resistance against the Galactic Empire. We may have been underestimated, but we have been preparing, training, and waiting for the day when we can strike back against your oppression. Crixon's eyes narrowed, his mind racing as he tried to reconcile the reality before him with his long-held beliefs. Impossible. Your people are nothing but primitive, backward creatures. How could you possibly pose a threat to the might of the Galactic Empire? Ava's gaze hardened, her voice tinged with a hint of anger. We are not primitive, General. We have learned, we have grown, and we have harnessed the full potential of our ingenuity and our spirit. The Galactic Empire's days of domination are numbered, and it is time for your kind to face the truth about the strength of humanity. Crixon's mandibles clicked furiously, his pride and ego refusing to accept the reality unfolding before him. No, this cannot be. I will not believe it. You are nothing but a fluke, a single exception to the rule. The rest of your people will still fall before the might of the Galactic Empire. Ava's finger tightened on the trigger of her plasma pistol, her expression resolute. Then you leave me no choice, General. I will ensure that the truth about humanity's strength is known, even if it means confronting you and your empire directly. Crixon tensed, his body poised for a final, desperate attempt to overpower the human soldier. But as their eyes met, the alien general saw a glimmer of something he had never expected to see in a human. Unwavering determination, and the promise of a fight he could no longer dismiss as insignificant. In that moment, Crixon's long-held beliefs about the weakness of humanity began to crumble, shaken to their very foundation. The truth about the capabilities of this freak human soldier was about to be revealed, and it would forever change the course of the conflict between the Galactic Empire and the human resistance. In the aftermath of his confrontation with the human soldier, Ava Salazar, General Crixon found himself grappling with a tempest of conflicting emotions. Disbelief, fury, and a growing sense of unease warred within the alien general as he struggled to come to terms with the revelation of the human's true capabilities. As Crixon paced the confines of his private quarters, his clawed hands clenched and unclenched, a testament to the turmoil raging within. How could this be possible? How could a mere human, a supposed inferior being, have bested him, the esteemed commander of the Galactic Empire's elite forces? The alien general's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of his mounting frustration. He had always been so certain of the superiority of his race, so confident in the might of the Empire's technology and military prowess. And yet, this human, this freak, as he had so dismissively labeled her, had managed to shatter those long-held beliefs. Crixon replayed the events in his mind, his eyes narrowing as he scrutinized every detail, searching for some flaw, some weakness in Ava Salazar's performance. But try as he might, he could not deny the truth of what he had witnessed. Her skill, her determination, her unwavering spirit, all of it had been on full display, a testament to the strength and potential of humanity. Gritting his teeth, Crixon tried to rationalize his defeat, to find some way to reconcile it with his worldview. She must be an anomaly, he muttered to himself, his voice tinged with desperation. A fluke, an exception to the rule. The rest of her species cannot possibly be this capable. But even as he spoke the words, Crixon felt a nagging doubt creep into his mind. What if Ava Salazar was not an anomaly, but a harbinger of a larger truth about the human race? What if his long-held beliefs about their weakness and inferiority were nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion, born of the Galactic Empire's own arrogance and complacency? The alien general's pacing quickened, his brow furrowed in deep contemplation. He could not ignore the implications of this revelation, not when it threatened to undermine the very foundations of the Galactic Empire's dominance. As Crixon's thoughts spiraled, a sudden realization dawned on him. If word of his defeat at the hands of a human soldier were to spread, it could have far-reaching consequences. The other alien commanders, the political leaders, they would all be forced to confront the same uncomfortable truths that he now faced. Crixon's mandibles clicked in a gesture of determination. He could not allow this information to become public knowledge, at least not until he had a chance to further investigate the extent of human capabilities. The risk of losing the unwavering loyalty of his troops, and perhaps even his own position within the Galactic Empire's hierarchy, was too great to ignore. With renewed resolve, Crixon strode towards the door, his mind already formulating a plan to contain the fallout from his confrontation with Ava Salazar. The truth about the human's strength might have shaken him to his core, but he would be damned if he let it unravel the very fabric of the empire he had sworn to protect. As the alien general marched towards the command center, a sense of unease settled over him. The certainties he had once held so dear were now crumbling, replaced by a growing realization that the path forward was no longer clear. The future, once so assured, now loomed with a sense of uncertainty, and Crixon knew that he would have to confront these doubts head-on if he hoped to maintain his grip on power. The news of General Crixon's defeat at the hands of a single human soldier spread through the ranks of the Galactic Empire's forces like wildfire. Initially, the reports were met with a mixture of disbelief and ridicule, as the other alien commanders and soldiers struggled to reconcile the unthinkable reality with their long-held beliefs about the inherent superiority of their race. However, as more details emerged, the initial dismissal slowly gave way to a growing sense of unease and uncertainty. Crixon's elite troops, once so confident in their abilities, began to question the foundations of their training and tactics. If a mere human could so thoroughly outmaneuver and overpower their vaunted general, what did that mean for the rest of the Galactic Empire's military might? In the halls of power, the political leaders of the Galactic Empire watched the developments with a mixture of alarm and trepidation. The implications of Crixon's defeat were far-reaching, threatening to undermine the very pillars upon which the Empire's dominance had been built. "Impossible," exclaimed one high-ranking official, his mandibles clicking rapidly in a gesture of distress. This human must have been some kind of aberration, a freak of nature. Surely the rest of their species cannot possess such capabilities. But the more the facts were examined, the harder it became to dismiss the truth. Ava Salazar's background as a highly trained lieutenant in the human resistance only served to reinforce the notion that humanity's strength was not to be underestimated. As the whispers spread throughout the Galactic Empire's ranks, a growing sense of unease began to take hold. Some alien commanders, once staunchly loyal to the Empire's cause, found themselves questioning the wisdom of their long-held assumptions. If the humans were truly capable of such feats, what did that mean for the future of the Galactic Empire's conquest? In the shadows, pockets of dissent began to emerge, with a small but vocal minority of alien soldiers and officials openly challenging the established narrative. They argued that it was time to reassess the Galactic Empire's approach to the human populations, to seek understanding and perhaps even find common ground, rather than relying solely on military might. However, these voices were quickly silenced, their concerns dismissed as the ramblings of traitors and cowards. The Galactic Empire's leadership, unwilling to confront the unsettling implications of Crixon's defeat, moved swiftly to quell any signs of wavering loyalty or questioning of the established order. Crixon himself, still reeling from the aftermath of his confrontation with Ava Salazar, found himself increasingly isolated within the halls of power. His peers, once quick to defer to his judgment and experience, now eyed him with a mixture of skepticism and unease. The alien general's once unassailable reputation had been tarnished, and he knew that if he could not find a way to regain the trust and respect of his fellow commanders, his position within the Galactic Empire's hierarchy would be in jeopardy. As the tensions within the Galactic Empire escalated, the fate of the human resistance movement and the future of the entire galactic landscape hung in the balance. The reverberations of Crixen's defeat had set in motion a series of events that threatened to unravel the very foundations of the Empire's dominance, and the coming days would test the resolve and adaptability of both the alien overlords and the human rebels. As the echoes of his confrontation with the human soldier, Ava Salazar, continued to reverberate through the Galactic Empire, General Crixen found himself grappling with an internal battle that threatened to shake the very foundations of his beliefs. Sequestered in his private quarters, the alien general paced back and forth, his clawed hands clenching and unclenching as he wrestled with the cognitive dissonance that had taken hold of his mind. The image of Ava, her plasma pistol trained on him with unwavering determination, remained seared into his memory, a stark contrast to the weak and inferior image of humanity he had long held. Crixen's mandibles clicked in a gesture of frustration as he replayed the events in his mind, searching for some flaw, some explanation that would allow him to reconcile his defeat with the established order of the Galactic Empire. But try as he might, the truth remained undeniable. Ava Salazar had proven herself to be a formidable adversary, her skills and determination far surpassing the alien general's preconceptions. As Crixen grappled with this realization, a glimmer of doubt began to take root in his mind. What if, in his arrogance and complacency, he had been wrong about the true nature of humanity? What if the weakness and inferiority he had so steadfastly believed in were nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion, born of the Galactic Empire's own biases and lack of understanding? The alien general paused in his pacing, a furrow creasing his brow as he considered these unsettling questions. For so long, he had taken pride in the superiority of his race, in the might of the Empire's military might and technological advancements. But now, that certainty had been shaken, replaced by a growing sense of unease and a gnawing doubt about the foundations upon which his worldview had been built. Crixen's clawed hands ran through the intricate patterns of his facial features, a gesture of deep contemplation. He knew that he could no longer ignore the implications of Ava Salazar's triumph. If the humans possessed such capabilities, if they were truly more than the weak and primitive creatures he had dismissed, then the Galactic Empire's dominance over the galaxy was in jeopardy. Slowly, reluctantly, the alien general began to entertain the possibility that his long-held beliefs had been flawed. Perhaps the humans were not the inferior beings he had assumed, but a people whose potential had been underestimated and overlooked. The thought was a bitter one, a challenge to the very core of his identity and the values he had sworn to uphold. As Crixen wrestled with these newfound doubts, a glimmer of self-reflection began to emerge. He found himself questioning the origins of his beliefs, the extent to which they had been shaped by the propaganda and indoctrination of the Galactic Empire's leadership. Had he, like so many of his fellow commanders, simply accepted the narrative without truly examining its validity? The alien general's pacing slowed, his movements becoming more contemplative as he grappled with these unsettling revelations. In that moment, Crixen realized that the path forward was no longer clear, that the certainties he had once held so dear were now crumbling under the weight of his own doubts. Steeling himself, the alien general made a decision. He would have to confront these issues head-on, to seek out the truth about the capabilities of humanity, even if it meant challenging the very foundations of the Galactic Empire's dominance. For Crixen knew that the fate of the galaxy, and perhaps even his own future, hinged on his ability to navigate this uncharted territory. General Crixen knew that he could no longer ignore the implications of his confrontation with the human soldier, Ava Salazar. The doubts and questions that had taken root in his mind had become too deep-rooted to dismiss, and he realized that he needed to take a bold step if he hoped to navigate this uncharted territory. With a sense of trepidation, The alien general summoned Ava to his private quarters, the weight of his decision heavy on his shoulders. As the human soldier entered the room, Crixon felt a surge of unease, his mandibles clicking in a gesture of uncertainty. Ava's expression was guarded, her eyes narrowed as she faced the alien general. The last time they had encountered one another, she had bested him in combat, shattering his long-held beliefs about the weakness of humanity. Crixon knew that trust would not come easily, not after the events that had transpired. Clearing his throat, Crixon spoke in a measured tone. "Lieutenant Salazar, I must confess that I have been troubled by our previous encounter." Ava remained silent, her posture tense as she waited for the alien general to continue. Crixon took a deep breath, his clawed hands unclenching as he forced himself to meet Ava's gaze. "I have come to realize that my assumptions about the capabilities of your people were flawed. I have long believed in the inherent superiority of my race, but your actions have forced me to confront the truth that I have been blind to." The human soldier's expression softened ever so slightly, a hint of curiosity replacing the initial suspicion. "I must know more," Crixon continued, his voice tinged with a sense of vulnerability that was uncharacteristic of the alien general. "I cannot ignore the implications of your triumph, nor the potential it holds for the future. If what I have come to suspect is true, then the balance of power in this galaxy may be on the brink of a dramatic shift." Ava remained silent for a moment, her brow furrowed in contemplation. "What is it that you wish to know, General?" she asked, her tone cautious but not openly hostile. Crixon's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of his internal turmoil. "I wish to understand the true nature of humanity's strength. I need to know if what I have witnessed in our encounter is merely an exception, or if it is indicative of a broader truth about your people's capabilities." Ava studied the alien general, her gaze searching for any sign of deception or ulterior motive. After a moment, she spoke, her voice measured and deliberate. "I will share what I can, General, but you must understand that the future of my people is at stake. Any information I provide must be used with the utmost care and discretion." Crixon nodded solemnly, a silent acknowledgement of the gravity of the situation. "I give you my word that I will not use this knowledge to further the Galactic Empire's subjugation of your people. I need to understand, Ava, for the sake of us all." The human soldier considered his words, her expression softening with a glimmer of trust. "Very well, General. Then let us begin a dialogue, one that may lead us to a new understanding between our peoples." As Ava and Crixon sat down to discuss the realities of human capabilities and the implications for the Galactic Empire, a sense of cautious optimism began to take root. For the first time, the alien general and the human soldier found themselves on the precipice of a potential alliance, one that could reshape the course of the conflict and usher in a new era of cooperation and understanding. The path ahead was not without its challenges, but in that moment, Crixon knew that he could no longer afford to cling to the certainties of the past. The future demanded a new perspective, one that acknowledged the true strength and potential of humanity. And with Ava Salazar as his guide, the alien general was determined to embark on this uncharted journey, no matter the cost. The news of General Crixon's unexpected alliance with the human soldier, Ava Salazar, sent shockwaves through the upper echelons of the Galactic Empire. The alien general's peers, once quick to defer to his judgment, now eyed him with a mixture of skepticism and unease, their long-held beliefs about the inherent superiority of their race being challenged at their very core. In the command center, Crixon stood tall, his mandibles set in a determined expression as he presented the proposal to his fellow commanders. Ava stood at his side, her gaze unflinching as she faced the scrutiny of the alien leaders. "This is preposterous," exclaimed one commander, his clawed hands clenching in anger. "You expect us to believe that a human, a member of the so-called resistance, can be trusted? This is a clear betrayal of the Galactic Empire." Crixon raised a hand, his voice calm and measured. I understand your concerns, but I can assure you that Lieutenant Salazar's intentions are aligned with the greater good of our people. Her knowledge and insights into the human resistance movement could prove invaluable in our efforts to bring peace and stability to the galaxy. Ava stepped forward, her expression grave. I know that my presence here is unconventional, to say the least, but I come to you not as an enemy, but as a willing partner in the quest for understanding and cooperation between our peoples. The alien commanders exchanged uneasy glances, their mandibles clicking in a gesture of deep contemplation. The idea of collaborating with a human, let alone a member of the Resistance, was a bitter pill for many of them to swallow. And what guarantees do we have that this is not some elaborate ruse? Challenged another commander. His eyes narrowed in suspicion. How can we be sure that the human is not simply waiting for the opportune moment to betray us all? Crixon's clawed hand came to rest on Ava's shoulder, a gesture that spoke of newfound trust and respect. Lieutenant Salazar has given me her word, and I, in turn, have pledged my own honor to ensure the success of this partnership. I would not be standing here before you if I did not believe in the sincerity of her commitment. The silence that followed was palpable as the alien commanders wrestled with the implications of Crixon's proposal. The very foundations of the Galactic Empire's dominance were being called into question, and the path forward was no longer clear. Slowly, a few of the more forward-thinking commanders began to nod, their expressions hesitant but not entirely dismissive. If what you say is true, General Crixon, then we may be facing a turning point in the conflict between the Galactic Empire and the human resistance. Perhaps it is time we consider a new approach. Crixon's mandibles clicked in a gesture of relief, his gaze shifting to Ava. The human soldier returned his look with a small, reassuring nod, an unspoken acknowledgement of the challenges that lay ahead. As the meeting adjourned, the alien general and the human soldier found themselves at the center of a growing storm of uncertainty and change. The echoes of their unexpected alliance had already begun to reverberate through the ranks of the Galactic Empire, sowing the seeds of doubt and questioning the very foundations of the established order. In the days that followed, Crixon and Ava worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between their peoples, navigating the delicate political landscape and facing resistance from those who clung to the old ways. But with each small breakthrough, a glimmer of hope began to take root, a promise of a future where the Galactic Empire and the human resistance could find common ground and forge a lasting peace. The path ahead was by no means clear, and the challenges they faced were daunting. But as Crixon and Ava stood side by side, their eyes fixed on the horizon, they knew that they were embarking on a journey that could fundamentally reshape the course of the conflict, and perhaps in time, even the very nature of the galactic landscape itself. In that moment, the weight of their responsibility was palpable, but it was tempered by a growing sense of possibility, a belief that the future was not set in stone. For if the truth about the strength and potential of humanity could be revealed, then the path to a new dawn, one where the Galactic Empire and the human resistance could coexist in harmony, might just be within reach.